Hello, my name is Lily Shepherd, and I'm going to talk here about understanding communication and really just what it is in general. So this is how we coordinate our actions and achieve our goals. It's very vital to organizations. The Webster Dictionary defines it as information exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, or behavior. Um, so that's just a little breakdown of what it is. It's very commonly used in the workplace. It's going to be taking up 50 to 90% of a manager's time. And so uh, it can be kind of make or break for the organization if that's what you're spending all your time doing. Talking with people, emailing them, things like that. But it also can cause bad things to happen in the end. These are some of the effects of poor communication. Um, an example might be on an airplane, uh, people in the cockpit, the what are they called? Flight attendants. If they have poor communication, it could literally be a case of life or death. And so that's just kind of an extreme example, but it kind of just shows you how important communication really is. And so, when we're talking about the effects of poor communication, the first one could be lawsuits. This is obviously something that you want to avoid. Um, an example that they had in the book was of doctors talking to patients when they're delivering the news to the families of the person that we were working on didn't make it, something along those lines. A lot of the time you can avoid lawsuits just by your communication style and just by delivering that news in a kind way or in a way that they understand best. And so that's just an example, but you want to make sure that you're communicating with others in a way that can avoid something like that happening, like a lawsuit. The next thing is that it just wastes time. If you're spending all your time trying to figure out what this person was saying, bickering, or trying to fix someone's mistakes of communication, it really in the long run can hurt the company by wasting time that could be spent doing something more productive. And so you want to try and avoid that as well. And then it also can cost the organization money. Like I said, how it wastes time. Your time is money, basically. And so let's say that you're spending all your time trying to figure out what this person was saying, trying to um, figure out their communication styles or something like that, when you could be spending your time doing something else that's ultimately hurting the company and costing them money. And you can also make mistakes that cost the company money, like saying something wrong in the long run. Um, just cost the company money. And then here on the right, I just have a little quote from Lee Iacocca. I think that's how you say it. He just says, "You can have brilliant ideas, but if you can't get them across, your ideas won't get you anywhere." So he's kind of talking about how you can have good ideas, but if you can't communicate them, it doesn't really matter. Okay. So here is the communication process. This is something that you want to try and remember to the best of your abilities. It really just consists of coordination, transmission of information, and sharing emotions and feelings. Um, these are all things that are vital to the communication process, and without them, it can kind of crumble. And then here I have a diagram that just kind of breaks down what goes on with communication, along with some vocab, to kind of explain it as well. So this is the communication process model, and it kind of just starts with the sender. This could be your boss, trying to communicate an assignment. And so this is where um, the message originates with a thought. So this is them thinking, okay, I want to give this person this assignment. They're the sender, they're starting it off. And so this is where it really begins. And then to encode it, this just means to translate that idea into words. And so the sender is thinking what he wants to communicate. Now they have to encode it or put it into words. And this is very important to make sure that the idea that you're trying to get across is encoded in the correct way. And so that it's easy for the other person to understand it. And then the medium, this is going to be how you encode it, basically. This can be through spoken words, signs, written words. So this could be just speaking to them in person, giving them the assignment, or this could be calling them. This could be even like through an email or a note. This is just going to be like how it's encoded and how the message is received. And that brings us here to the receiver. And this is just who receives the message, who gets the message. It's kind of self-explanatory, but it's the next person in the model here. And so this is just going to be who you're giving the message to. This could be, if we're still in this example of the boss sending the message, this could just be their employee that they're trying to tell something to or give a task. And then the next part is to decode the message. This is where I think things can really get misinterpreted as well. This is where the receiver is going to assign meaning to those words that the sender has sent. And so this is where they're kind of just interpreting what the message was and trying to decide what to do with it. And so the sender needs to make sure that whenever they encoded the message, that it was clear, that everything was explained in a way that really makes sense for the receiver. And so when the receiver is trying to decode it and trying to figure out what to do, things aren't lost there. And they're able to really just understand it. And so you can see on the right here, after it's encoded, there's going to be feedback that goes back to the sender. This is them just kind of like them telling the sender, yes, I understood. This is what I think. That's their response. And then there also can be noise. And this is just going to be anything that interferes or distorts the message. This doesn't necessarily have to be actual noise, in the sense of loud noises in the background, but it could also just be something that stops the message from getting to the receiver. So that could be like, if they were to send an email and the Wi-Fi goes down or something, that would be the email wouldn't be able to get to the sender, so it interferes. But it could also just be actual noise. And so let's say if you're trying to have a conversation with your employee and there's people just talking in the background the whole time, or there's construction outside or something along those lines, that's going to stop the receiver from really understanding what you're trying to say. And so if we go through the chart here, it starts with the sender and they have a thought and they encode it. And then that message then goes to the receiver where they decode it and they figure out what's going on. And then they encode their own feedback and thoughts. It goes back to the sender and then they decode those thoughts. And it's just a big process. And that's just kind of a breakdown of what communication is. And so if you're looking for some key takeaways from this section, I would say just remember that communication is vital to organizations. Poor communication is prevalent between senders and receivers. Um, Communication fulfills these functions within organizations, including coordination, the transmission of information, and sharing emotions and feelings. Um, and remember what noise is. Noise can disrupt or distort the communication as well. So thank you very much.